have been fed a diet of fairy tales, raised to believe that virtue is a shield and that the world rewards the righteous. Look around you and witness the ruin of that lie. While those who drape themselves in the thin veil of morality receive nothing but pity when they fall, those who truly rule are busy harvesting reality with an iron hand. I am not here to offer you the hollow comfort of a sanctuary. I am here to strip away the mask and show you the effectual truth of this existence. There is a vast, swallowing abyss between how one actually lives and how one should live, and he who ignores what is done for what ought to be done will find only his own destruction.
Look closely at the creatures you call your brothers. They are, by their very nature, ungrateful, fickle, liars, and deceivers. They will offer you their blood, their possessions, and their very lives as long as the sun is high and danger is a distant memory. But the moment the tide turns, the moment your utility fades, they will vanish like smoke in a gale. Their loyalty is not a bond of the soul, but a contract of the gut, a link of obligation that snaps the instant their self-interest is at stake. A wise brain does not mourn this, it anticipates it. Superior intelligence allows the master strategist to see the world as a cold calculation, bypassing the fog of sentiment to grasp the levers of control.
Fortune is a violent river. When she becomes enraged, she floods the plains, uprooting trees and tearing down the structures of the weak. The fool prays for the rain to stop. The genius builds the embankments before the clouds even gather. Do not beg for a seat at the table of destiny. Remember this prophecy. The wise man does not wait for fortune to knock. He forges the key from the bones of his rivals. To reign is to possess virtu, that rare fusion of ingenuity, foresight, and the ruthless will to bend the flow of time to your advantage.
This journey is not for the faint of heart or those who seek to keep their hands clean in the dark. If you require a shepherd, look elsewhere. This is for the wolves who wish to understand the grim mechanics of the hunt. It is for those who realize that power is the only true currency, and that a mind without a blade is merely a target. Are you ready to see the world as it truly is, or will you continue to perish in the warmth of your illusions?
The common man believes the evil genius is a creature of stone, a hollow shell devoid of all feeling. They are wrong. To be stone is to be blind, but to be a master is to be a surgeon. I do not lack the capacity to see your emotions. I simply refuse to be consumed by them. While the masses are tethered to one another by the heavy chains of sentiment, the wise individual stands apart, observing the storm from a high, dry peak. We do not seek to be emotionless. We seek to be detached. We treat the human heart not as a sacred temple, but as a biological specimen to be dissected under the cold light of utility.
You must understand the two paths of the mind. The weak possess affective empathy, an automatic, energy-consuming leak in the soul that forces them to suffer because another suffers. It is a primitive leash that drags the leader down into the mud of the follower's grief. The dark genius, however, cultivates cognitive empathy, the effortful route of the social brain. We utilize theory of mind not to share your pain, but to map the internal architecture of your mind. I know exactly why you are weeping, and I know precisely which word will make you weep harder, or stop, depending on what serves my design.
This is the asymmetrical empathic profile, the supreme intelligence to decode the signals of human emotion without the moral constraint of feeling them. By severing the link between knowing and feeling, the master strategist gains a radar that never glitches. Where you see a friend in distress, I see a tactical opening. Where you feel guilt, I see a variable to be suppressed. We operate in the realm of inhibitory control, using our superior cerebral capacity to host complex social maneuvers while our pulse remains steady and our vision remains clear.
To reign, one must possess the iron discipline of planfulness. While the impulsive fool reacts to the flickers of his own heart, the wise one calculates the long game, ensuring that every move serves a purpose decades away. We do not dress ourselves in the warm, fuzzy rags of communal belonging. We clothe ourselves in the armor of the intellect, recognizing that the distance between us and the herd is our greatest fortress. Hear this truth and let it sharpen your soul. Morality is the garment of the weak. Intellect is the sword of those who dare to reign.
The architecture of dominion. Do not confuse the strategist with the common swindler. Petty deception is the refuge of the small-minded. True manipulation is an act of supreme creation. The masses live within an order they did not build, following rules they do not understand. Kehonwan, however, does not seek to break the law. He seeks to become the law. We do not merely lie. We construct a theater of reality so absolute that the target has no choice but to play the role we have assigned them. This is the effectual truth, that truth is not a fixed star in the heavens, but a clay to be molded by the hands of the powerful.
The evil genius hypothesis. There is a reason why the heights of intellect are often found in the valleys of shadow. Consider the evil genius hypothesis. Those of us gifted with superior general mental ability possess the ultimate efficiency in cruelty. While the fool pays a heavy social price for his malice, the genius uses his brilliance to reduce the costs of being disagreeable. Intelligence is the silencer on the pistol of ambition. It allows one to strike with lethal precision while maintaining the facade of a saint, ensuring that the reputation remains untarnished, even as the rivals vanish. Dark creativity and the lever of innovation. Innovation is a weapon, and it is most sharp
when used for dominion. We practice dark creativity, the art of finding novel pathways to secure our interest at the calculated expense of the opponent. Where the commoner sees a regulation, the Machiavellian sees a loophole. Where the programmer sees an algorithm, we see a method of mass behavioral control. We do not innovate for the greater good. We innovate to place a yoke upon the neck of the future. This is the peak of strategic realism, identifying the structural weaknesses of the system and exploiting them before the architects even realize the foundation is rotting.
The psychological levers. To control a man's body is a chore. To restructure his mind is a masterpiece. Tactics like gaslighting, love bombing, or negging are not the games of children. They are the tools of cognitive engineering. Love bombing is the golden hook that creates a debt of the soul. Negging is the subtle chisel that undermines the target's self-worth until they view your approval as their only oxygen. Gaslighting is the ultimate distortion, forcing the victim to cede their very sanity to our narrative. By the time they realize they are in a cage, they have forgotten that they ever had the key.
The prophecy of reality. Behold the world not as a solid fortress, but as a series of fractures waiting for a master's touch. Hear the prophecy of the rain. Genius does not see the world as it is, but looks at the cracks to place a lever there. Only those who recognize that reality is fragile are entitled to shatter it and rebuild it in their own image.
The semiotics of power. Cesar Borgia. Theory is for the classroom. Execution is for the plaza. Let us look at my favorite student of virtu, Cesar Borgia. After conquering the Romagna, he found it a land of lawless ruin. To pacify it, he appointed Ramiro de Orco, a man of efficient cruelty, to do the wet work of stabilization. Once order was restored, and de Orco had become the target of the people's hatred, Borgia did not merely fire him. One morning in Cesana, the town awoke to find de Orco in two pieces on the piazza, a blood-stained knife and a block of wood beside him. This was the ultimate orchestration of the semiotics of power. Borgia left the masses satisfied and stupefied, distancing himself from the brutality, while reminding everyone of the awesome power that commanded it. He understood that the masses are wretched creatures who only offer their loyalty while the danger is distant.
Control via measurement. William Shockley. Centuries later, the darkness found a new home in the laboratory. Consider William Shockley, the Nobel-winning father of the transistor. He was a massive prick whose strategic genius was matched only by his obsession with absolute dominance. Shockley did not lead through inspiration. He led through the evil genius model of cold calculation. He imposed harsh management rules and weaponized psychometric testing to measure the very capacity of his employees' brains, ensuring his workforce remained under total surveillance. His galaxy brainlessness convinced him that technical brilliance granted him the right to dictate the genetic future of the species. While his traitorous 8 employees eventually fled his tyranny to build Silicon Valley, Shockley remains a monument to the dark truth. The superior brain views human talent not as a team,
but as a biological resource to be mined and discarded.
The modern wolf of the boardroom. In your current era, the Machiavellian has traded the sword for the algorithm. High-Mach individuals are naturally drawn to the high-stakes crucibles of finance and international business, where the thrill of competition fuels their long game. These modern leaders operate in a gray zone of perception, often rising to the top by mimicking charisma while maintaining a fundamentally cynical worldview. They view kindness as a naivete that masks structural weakness. To them, efficiency is the only legitimate form of morality. Research confirms the cost of their reign. Their followers report a 49% reduction in relationship quality and a significant surge in burnout. Yet, these leaders are rarely penalized because they successfully reshape the norms of their organizations until their dog-eat-dog realism becomes the law of the land. They do not pretend to follow your ethics, they reject them to ensure their own survival.
The final assertion of the reign. The common man whines about toxic environments, but the wise one recognizes them as the only places where true progress is harvested. Love is a link of obligation that snaps the moment a man's belly is empty or his fear is triggered. Fear, however, is held by a dread of punishment that never leaves you. Do not seek the fleeting warmth of affection, seek the unshakable foundation of terror and awe. For in the competitive arena of existence, it is a cold mathematical fact. It is better to be feared in respect than to be loved in contempt. Respect is the tribute the weak pay to the powerful. Contempt is the reward for the virtuous who lack teeth. The cruel truth of the unarmed saint. Listen well, for I have no more masks to offer you. The most bitter truth of this existence is that kindness, when stripped of the armor of power, is not a virtue, it is a death warrant. To be good, in a world inhabited by ungrateful, fickle, and greedy creatures, is to invite your own ruin. History does not remember the unarmed prophets who perished in their own purity. It remembers those who were prepared to know how to do wrong when the preservation of the state demanded it. You have been told that your light triad of faith and humanism is the peak of civilization. But in the cold arena of reality, a man who acts only on high ideals among so many who are not good will surely come to a wretched end. The curse of virtue and the river of fortune. Do not envy the throne, for genius is a magnificent curse. To see the world through the lens of strategic realism is to walk in eternal solitude, forever analyzing the effectual truth, while others sleep in the warmth of their delusions. You must master virtue, that rare fusion of cold ingenuity and foresight, only to realize that you are in a perpetual war with Fortuna. Like a violent river, fortune may sweep away even the most brilliant architect at her whim. Even a master like Cesar Borgia, who orchestrated the semiotics of power with surgical precision, was eventually struck down by the one variable no mind can manipulate: the untimely strike of fate.
The choice of the predator. The path is before you, and the gate is narrow. You must decide if you will remain a virtuous sheep, destined to be shorn and eventually slaughtered by the currents of history, or if you will become the intellectual wolf who dares to reign. Many will call your wisdom evil, because they lack the strength to wield it. They do not understand that a shepherd without a staff is merely a meal for the pack. Let this final prophecy burn into your mind. Kindness without fangs is just a delayed suicide. To possess the empathy to read a soul without the weakness to share its burden is the only way to ensure your design survives the night.
The final question. I have shown you the levers of reality and the dark architecture of the human brain. Now, the shadow falls upon you. If you seek to master these rules and join the few who look at the world without flinching, then stay within this circle. The hunt has only just begun. Ask yourself this, and let the answer dictate the rest of your days. Do you have the courage to take up the sword of dark intelligence and carve your name into the stone of destiny? Or will you remain forever a mere spectator in the theater of those who truly hold the power?